this is a little saying, a little thing that my grandmother used to say to us around Christmas. It is called, Silent Night. Louis Sioncheur, ô Saint-Louis, tu es comme, tu arrives. Voyez Marie et son enfant. Cet enfant si comme est mort. Dors en sépi soleil. Dors en sépi soleil.
And all this morning, since around 9:30, we've been going up and down Grand Coteau, walking into bakery shops and boutique shops and coffee shops and spouting out poetry. So that's what we're going to do for you today, right now. So the first one up, we'll say welcome, say hello, bonjour,
Well,
say bonjour.
bonjour.
All right, we're ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Lion by Jericho Brown. I wish you tame, I wish what you fear, a night alone in the forest. A father who leaves you there. I wish you were 10 years old again and in love with Marvin Gaye. I wish you saw his daddy shoot him. I wish you asthma, an attack in the field. A lump in your chest, a doctor who won't touch it. Afraid of dying, see the circus and be content. Animals crawling like infants for men who made them. I wish you would sniff a man. I wish his whip sharper than fangs. I wish you could know how biteless I feel. I don't close his head in my throat.
Yeah. Very good. And what's your name?
Henry.
Hey, Henry. Give me a hug. Thank you so much. This is fun. Okay.
Langston Blue by Jericho Brown. O blood of the river sons, O sons of the river blood, let me lie down. Let my words like sounds in the mouths of men, repeated invocations pure and perfect as a moan. Let mouths in the mouths of Bessie Smith, blues for the angels kicked out of heaven, blues for the angels who miss them still, blues for my people and what water they know. O weary drinker, drinking from the bloody river. Why go to heaven in Harlem to clothe? Why sing of rivers with fathers of our own to miss? I remember mine and taste a stain like blood coursing the body of a man chased by a mob. I write his running, his sweat. Here he climbed for the popular of the sky. But it is only sky. The river, follow me, you'll see. We tried to fly and learned we couldn't swim. Dear river, are we as loud underwater? It is bind of brothers, or is it the Mississippi running through the fattest vein of America? I wanted to write. I wanted to hear the blues, but here I am swimming in the river again. That what flows through the fattest vein of a drowned body. What American can a body call home? When I say Congo, I mean blood. When I say now, I mean blood. When I say year fresh, I mean, if you only knew how much blood we had in common, so much. In Louisiana, they call a man like me red. And red was too dark for my daddy, and my daddy was too dark for American. He ran like a man for my mother and I. My mom sobbed like the songs of Bessie Smith. Who wears more feathers than death? Oh, the dead. My people refuse to die. When I was 18, I rode down the river. Though I couldn't win a race, climb a tree that winter, then fell flat on my wet red face. Line after line, I read all the time, but there is nothing I can do about race.
Great. Tell me your name. Nalicia? Nalicia, y'all know that's the longest poem I ever wrote. Nalicia, you did great. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Give me a hug.
Hit 'em by Jericho Brown. They said to say goodnight and not goodbye. Unplug the TV when it rains. They hid money in mattresses so to sleep on decisions. Some of their children were not their children. Some of their parents had no birthdays. They could sweat a cold out of you. They wake up without anyone telling them to. And I don't care how ugly one of them arrived. That one got married to somebody fine. They've wiped their kitchens clean and fed their families with change. Then another century came. People like me forgot their names.
That's good. Hey, tell me your name.
Shannon Johnson.
Hey, that was beautiful. Thank you. This is really good. Okay.
The name of my poem is Our Jobs by Jericho Brown. I spent what life Saturday since sweating. I learned to cuss cutting grass for women. Kind enough to say they couldn't tell the damn difference between their mowed lawns and their vacuum cars. Just before I handed away a $5 bill, rolled tighter in the joint and asked me to change for light bulb. I called those women old because they wouldn't move out of the chair without my help or without their hand at the base of their bed. I called them old and they must have been. They're all dead, dead and in the world I once tended. The loneliest people have the earth to love and not one friend their own age. Only mothers to baby them and big sisters to boss them around. Whom they want to please and pray for the chance to say please to. I don't do that kind of work anymore. My job is to look at the childhood I hated and say, I once had something to do with my hands.
That's good. That was good. Oh my God, look at you. Look at that. Y'all saw that? What's your name? Lawrence, y'all saw Lawrence? Oh. That's really good. Oh my God, this is the most fun I ever had.
My poem is entitled A Prayer for the Backhanded by Jericho Brown. Not the palm, not the pear tree switch, not the broomstick, or the closet extension cord, not his braided belt, but God, bless the back of my daddy's hand, which holding nothing tightly against me, and not wrapped in leather, eliminate the air between itself and my cheek. Make full this dimpled cheek, unworthy of its unfisted print, and forgive my forgetting, the love of a hand, hungry for reflex, a hand that took no thought in its target, like hell from a blind sky, involuntary, fast, but brutal in its bruising. Father, I bear the bridge of what might have been a broken nose. I lift up to you what was a busted lip. Bless the son who believes his best beatings lack intention, the mark of the beast. Bring back to life the son who glories in the sin of immediacy, calling it love. God save the man whose arm, like an angel's invisible wing, may fly back in fury, whether or not his son stands near. Help me hold in place my blazing jaw as I think to say, excuse me.
Excuse me. Take it off. That's good.
The name of this poem is Group by Jericho Brown. If it had become a competition in which we, like children, desperate for blue ribbon, pulled not a hill, looked into a certain of calluses. If our contest awarded the strongest, the boy who could best inflict pain yet not flinch when injured, then you won. For I must imagine a brown on your back to reach my feet, a sharp cut of breath, a tug of war, with the heaviest child grunting at the end of the rope until jerking dragged over the ground. The fat kid found this from up. The way I splash your lick his name and shivers about me. Watch him water. If he tastes his mud as bitter as the cold blood, then I will.
You love me. Yes, you do. And you love me. And you love me. And you love me. Thank you, baby.
My poem is In by Jericho Brown. They said to say goodnight, not goodbye. Unplug the TV when it rains. They hid money in mattresses so to sleep on decisions. Some of their children were not their children. Some of their parents had no birthdays. They could sweat a cold out of you, and they'd wait without an alarm telling them to. And even the strong ones reach certain shelves, and even skinny cooked animals too quick to get caught. And I don't care how ugly one of them arrives, that one got married to somebody fine. They fed their families with change and wiped the kitchens clean. Then another century came, and people like me forgot their names. I just walk, forget about curfew, about the dangers of the city night. Ask after that game, it's all I can think of to do. I shut off my cell so I can't see people texting consolation messages, or hear my mom call to ask when I'll be home. Just hit the shower, step out of the locker room, and try to put some distance between myself and that 27-point beatdown Hamilton put on us. Or it's even the picture from Lawrence North. The thing is, this time we were right there, and I was leading the way. When I finally checked the stat sheet at the end of the game, I realized I recorded 24, and that's with coach sitting me for the rest of the third and part of the fourth. But I know it doesn't matter. I could have scored 50 and it wouldn't have mattered. It's like we were in a race with those guys, and they're just toying with us. They want us to finish line with us inside, they mashed the gas and left us for dead. Or, as Coach Bolton put to me afterward, you were so damn busy talking trash over shots you made in the second quarter, you forgot the short quarters in the game. I headed on Meridian toward downtown, put the school and my neighborhood behind me. Far ahead, I see Chase Tower and the One American Tower, rising next to each other, lighting up downtown into me. I go across Fall Creek. The water gives off a slight stench in the night. I'm so frustrated, I just want to give up. I stare down at that water, see the moonlight reflecting off its cold surface. Think about how none of this is turning out how I planned. I think about that day back in the court when I showed up against Brown just a few months ago, and just from the water I'm walking up now. Back then, everything felt certain. My starting point, a great season, the first few steps toward basketball stardom. Just playground dreams, I guess. Because right now, it's on bitter cold, with bad losses piling up. I kept moving toward downtown, past the Taco Bell, past the Wendy's. I didn't have anywhere I'm headed. I kept thinking, I'll stop somewhere, get it warm, and maybe buy tea. But it's like I can't. Like the only way to keep from going crazy is to keep walking. Past 16 and the late night traffic, cruising through the bars for the castle. Down the longest stretch to 14, and soon enough, under interstate, where I hear the whoosh of traffic above me. I know I've got a couple miles back to my house, not all of them the best blocks to go on at night, but I keep on. I think about all those cars racing up and down 65, running up to Chicago or down to Louisville. I look around me at the swirl of the city. A couple office lights still glowing high in the office building at 10. Cars going in and out the lot of the news station, horns honking from far off, shouts from distant doorways. Here's the good news. Nobody cares about what happened in the Marion East Gym tonight. I know that's not entirely true, but in the scheme of the city, it's nothing. They care about the Packer game tonight, or the morning deadline, or how they're going to afford Christmas presents. Or they care about one more drink, or making it further up the highway. So Hamilton Academy driving Marion East doesn't even register. I'm not Roy Hibbert straying through the Circle Center. Since I don't get that kind of glory, at least nobody notices when I fell in the court. Problem is, I know. Damn. I might have to be a freshman, but I already know this much about winning and losing. The way people look after you win, all the laughter back home when people are celebrating, or the way they avoid your gaze after a loss, or give your shoulder a squeeze and tell you, good game. That stuff counts, but it doesn't matter. What matters is how the win makes you feel inside, the way it fills you up with a kind of light, something all yours that nobody can touch. And what matters is how a loss sits in your stomach, like you ate something rotten, how there's no getting rid of it. Like loss is its own, being alive inside of you, gnawing on your insides.
Thank you so much. My favorite matches out of that. Pick it out yourself. Sort of, that's great. Thank you so much. For everybody, you just enjoyed my poetry.
A couple, there you go. All right, students, any questions for your authors?
You got a question? What's your question?
What inspired you to write Odd Jobs?
What inspired me to write that poem, Odd Job? Well, I was thinking about, I guess, when I was about your age and the kind of work I used to do when I was a kid. And I wanted to write a poem that was sort of a tribute to that work, and a poem that was a tribute to the people that I did that work for, those little old ladies who were always giving me hugs and handing me money. And it was so funny, y'all know these people, right? They hand you the money and it's so tight that it takes you 20 minutes to unroll them. Like, they done wrapped it up 20 times. And I used to love that. I used to think that was just so sweet. And I remember, I'm from Shreveport originally, and whenever I would come back home, you know, another one of those old ladies weren't there anymore because they were gone. So the poem, in a lot of ways, is an elegy. an elegy for my own past and for those people of my past, you know? So that's what inspired me. Thank you. You got a question?
What made you want to write A Prayer for the Backhanded? Because it seems like a bad experience that no one would want to relive, you know?
Yeah, so I think poems have to get at some of these bad experiences that no one would want to relive, because what poems really do is they get to the actual parts of the human experience, and nobody's human experience is all joy. You know, we have, even in the midst of our joy, we have some pitfalls, we have some moments of gray, we have some moments of sheer darkness, you know? And I wanted to write a poem, actually, that looked at that experience that some would say was, as you say, an awful experience, but that also began to forgive my father and to understand that he was doing the best he knew how to do. Though I don't think he had to do it, he was expressing a very odd kind of love that was simply the way he knew how to express it.
It was a very great poem. I really enjoyed learning it.
Thank you. Thank you. I loved watching you. I could tell you enjoyed it because you gave it all the hands and everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm a little scared she might hit me. That was good. It was really good.
You can give kudos to their teacher.
Thank you.
She's the one who
Thank
took
you.
him to a place. I took him to
We
another
can't do it
place.
without your office, so
Thank you.
thank y'all.
Thank you.
And James and I took him to another place. But these kids are just amazing.
They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
Seventh graders, raise your hands. Seventh graders.
I've been writing since, well, I was writing when I was your age, but I probably didn't really start calling myself a poet until about 17 years ago. So it's been a while now, yes. But even when I was much younger than that, I was a kid who loved poems. Like y'all love poems, right? Y'all love poems, right? Y'all love poems?
Yes.
And when I was a kid who loved poems, I would try to recopy the poems that I was reading. And I would hand them to my mom. I was a plagiarist. I would hand them to my mom and say, look what I wrote. And she'd be like, oh, baby, you know? And I was like, I didn't really write that, but, you know, it made me happy. So, yeah.
Seventh graders, raise your hands.
Seventh graders, that's 12 years
graders.
old. Seventh graders.
All right, I don't think I have any eighth graders, ninth graders.
Ninth graders,
Freshman.
y'all 15 because it's spring.
All right, sophomore
Sophomore, that's
and
16.
seniors.
Seniors, all right, seniors.
And senior here.
Senior here, that's what's up. Y'all graduated in May?
And the student that
All
did
right.
yours was a seventh grader.
Oh, great.
Yes, she was a seventh grader. Oh, not a picture of her.
Okay.
When we did it at the supermarket and Raising Cane's.
All right.
Yes.
One of my was supposed to come today. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
So let's give it up for
Lion is one of
Maureen.
yeah, poems that are in my first book. I have a poem called Timber, and I have a poem called Scarecrow, and I have a poem called Lion. And I wanted to see if I could look at the characters from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, I used to love anything that was magic in it. But I wanted to see if I could look at those characters from The Wizard of Oz from new directions other than that cowardly lion that's in, I wanted to look at a circus lion, right? And in Tin Man, I wanted to look at what it was like to be a woodcutter in the forest, right? Or in Scarecrow, the Scarecrow guy is really long, and it has like many parts to it. So I wanted to look at every part of the way you can see the Scarecrow. So that's what led to writing.
I started writing around the same time. I always somehow attached to sports. Games always been.
Thank you so much for asking.
I grew up around it.
Yes.
And so, before I ever came back.
Let's get up for these wonderful students. Here's a wonderful teacher here to the side, Miss Reed. And she works with them for a couple months, and then James Blanchard and I go in and workshop with them, and I'm very, very proud of all of them. They did a fantastic job. So give it up again for the dropout students of 2015.
Can I read a poem the next day? I'll read a poem. Thank y'all so much. I wrote those poems, y'all. So, no, it's really nice. It's really nice. I feel like this is the first time I ever wondered how many times Maya Angelou had to sit around listening to people say phenomenal woman, you know? So this is my first time ever having anything like that happen for me, so it's really wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. That's really beautiful. I think it's really good to have poems memorized and poems that you can carry with you throughout your life, just in your heart. To have poems that you can bring up at any given time, at any given moment. Poems are so useful to me in that way because they capture so much of life's experience. I mentioned last night that poems are not like Hallmark cards. They look at all that is dark and all that is light at the same time. They're not only interested in the light. A poem like this one by Langston Hughes, this is probably my favorite Langston Hughes poem. It's really short, so you've got to catch it. It's only 3 lines. Y'all ready? Suicide's note. The calm, cool face of the river asked me for a kiss. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I like that. Y'all like that. It's called Suicide's Note. The calm, cool face of the river asked me for a kiss. Isn't that nice? Isn't that good? And then other poems like this one by Lucille Clifton, Cruelty. Don't talk to me about cruelty or what I am capable of. When I wanted the roaches dead, I wanted them dead, and I killed them. I took a broom to their country and smashed and sliced without warning, without stopping, and I smiled all the time I was doing it. It was a holocaust of roaches, bodies, parts of bodies, red all over the ground. I didn't ask their names. They had no names worth knowing. Now I watch myself whenever I enter a room. I never know what I might do. So that's what poems do. They're looking at all of the insides of us. I'll read one of my poems. Again. You are not as tired of the poem as I am of the memory. A returning toothache on either side of the mouth. An ingrown hair beneath the chin. Simple itch, bruising, scratch. And again I am bundled in Cousin Kenny's clothes from last school year. My hand held by my mother's. We walk as if the house behind us isn't warm enough for my feet. In the dark, we make a few blocks around the one-story neighborhood that I love. Though nothing I've written tells you this. I want to cut it out of me because turns out it never mattered. Right now, my mother's asleep on my father's chest. His arm has landed in the same place around her most of 30 years. Give a man a minute. She's asleep, and I'm typing it all over again. Everywhere, a man is shifting a bit to make his woman more comfortable in his arms. I should have told you this lines ago. We walked back to the house we ran from because my mother loves her husband and his hands, even if laid heavy against her. I know you don't want to believe that, but give a man a minute. We're not done. My father loves his wife and the shape of her body, even if hunched in retreat. their son keeping up. I'm so sick of it. Another awful father scarring this page too. A bruising scratch. We walked back through an open door. And why don't I mention how he kissed my forehead before covering me on the couch that was my bed? Listen, and you can hear them in the next room, planning names for the youngest of us, then making love loud enough for the oldest to learn. Thank y'all so much.
You were awesome and very tall.
I feel like an Oompa Loompa. My short friends, I sing the Oompa Loompa song because I'm silly. And I love the Oompa Loompa song, you know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Oompa Loompa, yeah. So that's how you made me feel just now, Jericho. Anyway, I was about to say what you said I should introduce you as, Jericho Brown, the black man with the beautiful hair.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything else. Just I wish I could do that. Anyway, guys, can you guys do me a special favor? Can you give a special person a round of applause? She just walked in a few minutes ago, and she looks just like me, and she's sitting over there. This is my mother. I feel so excited, I'm gonna cry. Anyway, so as you guys were reading Jericho's poetry, and Jericho read a little bit of Langston, it made me think of one of my favorite poets, Huey P. Newton. Most people didn't know he was a poet as well as one of the founding members of the Black Panthers. You mind if I read a little bit of his work? It's probably my favorite of all time. One day I suddenly realized I had forgotten name, age, sex, address. I had found myself. What is greater than love, I will tell you then. What is greater than love is the relationship I have with the tip of my finger. Want me to break it down? I can break it down. It's a simple concept. If I define myself as my thumb, I deny myself my fingers. If I define myself as my fingers, I deny myself my hand. If I define myself as my hand, I deny myself my arm. If I define myself as my arm, I deny myself my body. If I define myself as my body, I deny myself my universe. I diminish myself. I do not know enough about myself because you do not know enough about yourself. Would you help me know? I met someone and he was a part of myself that I did not appreciate. It is not that our ego is too